I got a call saying you didn't deliver the pizza on time. Look, I said I was in a car accident, and even the police said I wasn't at fault. I still need to get an x-ray for my shoulder. You probably weren't even looking at where you were going. I am not going to pay for any workman's comp, so you better not be injured. This is strike 1 and 2 for you. So hand over any tips you made so far. You don't get any today. That's illegal, you can't do that. Would you like to end up in the employment line? Because that's where you're heading if you keep acting like that. Hi, my name is James, but like my father, everyone calls me Jim. I have worked at a small mom-and-pop restaurant called Manny's Pizza for the past 3 years while going to college. The owner, named George, was an extremely nice and well-respected elderly man who was always looking out for me. His wife would often be at the restaurant too, always smiling and giving hugs to us employees. Her name was Sally, and she made the best cookies. Both George and Sally were 2 of the best bosses I had ever had. You can clock out now. I know you have an exam tomorrow. Are you sure? I just need to clean this part of the kitchen. Go, I got this. Your education is very important. Okay, I'll come in early to make up the difference. George always let me do homework during downtime. He let me keep any tips that I made, and he let us have time off for school and family, although we rarely asked for time off. And when any of us did ask, we always gave at least 2 weeks' notice. However, after George sold the pizza place, the new owner ended up being the complete opposite, and to this day, remains the worst boss I have ever worked for. Okay, Jim, we talked about this. You need to upsell toppings all the time. That last couple didn't even add any pepperoni or sausage. Next time, upsell. But the Smiths are vegetarian. I don't think they'd appreciate being offered meat. No one is a vegetarian for life. Next time, upsell them. The worst they can do is say no. If you don't start upselling to everyone more often, I'll start withholding your tips. You have to earn those, you know? And that was just the tip of the iceberg of how different Steve was from George. Steve had a short temper and was always 1 step away from being fuming mad at the smallest things. He drove a fancy car that looked a bit run down, and his wife was very stuck up. She would often refer to us employees as the help or servants. Neither Steve nor his wife Jessica would ever remember our names. Not that they liked each other that much either. Why did your sister come over with her bratty children?
I told you last week that they were going to be here. It's not my fault you drink every night and forget everything.
Well, I can't stomach remembering most nights at home. And don't act all high and mighty. I've seen your wine bottle collection. How long are they staying this time?
Supposed to be a week, but last time they left early because of your bullshit.
She just has thin skin, must run in the family. And I think the only thing they had in common was their love of money and disliking us workers. There were 3 of us, me, Sally, and Ben. Sally normally worked the till. She had a beautiful smile and a young son. She was going through college and would often be seen with a book open when she wasn't working hard. Ben was a middle-aged guy who was trying to get back on his feet, a hard worker.
Why do you have him at the till? Shouldn't that girl be there?
Yeah, Sally, whatever. She had to pick up her kid, some sort of emergency or some shit.
Isn't she a bit young to have a kid that old? Besides, I hope she knows she can't keep using that excuse just to get out of work.
Ha! Don't worry about that. I told her this is strike 1. After 3 strikes, she's getting canned. They would often talk about us while we were nearby as if we were invisible. They didn't care about our feelings or personal life. And I know it's a business. But still, Sally's kid had a broken arm. A week or so later, Sally got a 2nd strike because she got caught trying to catch up on some homework. Normally, George would have allowed it, since Sally always put her books down right away when customers were in the building. We had a lot of downtime during the work week.
But sir, there's no one in here, and there hasn't been anyone for a few hours. I used to be able to do homework here in the past.
No, look, that old man didn't know what he was doing. He's not a businessman like me. You need to clean or drum up some more business. Putting your nose in a book doesn't do me any good here. This is strike 2, and I am taking your tips for today. I am here today too. It's not that busy, sir. And I really don't mind if I cover for her a little. She covers for me when I do homework too. When you do homework, this is not a school. I expect you both to be busy all the time, or do I need to reduce some hours? For that, you both don't get today's tips. Steve never let us do any homework, and we had to stand around looking busy. Everything was clean. We just never got many customers early in the day. All our tips and money came at night when people wanted an easy meal for dinner. Now and then we'd get a few customers in the late morning, some during lunch, a few during the early afternoon, and then hordes of customers at dinner time in the evening. George believed that the little profit to be made before dinner was worth having employees come in so they could make a little extra money while improving themselves. Finally, one day, Steve stepped over the line.
I got a call saying you didn't deliver the pizza on time.
Look, I said I was in a car accident, and even the police said I wasn't at fault. I still need to get an x-ray for my shoulder. You probably weren't even looking at where you were going. I am not going to pay for any workman's comp, so you better not be injured. This is strike 1 and 2 for you. So hand over any tips you made so far. You don't get any today.
That's illegal, you can't do that. Would you like to end up in the employment line? Because that's where you're heading if you keep acting like that.
Man, I need that money. It's for my family.
Boo-hoo, you need to drive better next time then.
The week after that, we found out that to avoid paying for any workman's comp, medical, or time off for Ben, Steve told the police and insurance that Ben might have been on drugs, so Ben had to do a drug test, and all his paperwork and insurance got delayed. We only found out because Jessica told Steve to do that, while me and Sally were within earshot. Again. Finally, the last straw. Sally's son had an incident at school regarding his broken arm and had to go to the hospital again to get it rechecked. She got the call while at work, and when she told Steve, he got mad and blew up her in front of some customers.
This will be strike 3 if you go. And if you do go, don't bother coming back.
He needs to get another x-ray. He might have rebroken the arm.
Why doesn't his deadbeat father take him then? I need you here today.
Because his father left us years ago.
Well, that doesn't surprise me with your attitude. Get his goddamn grandparents to take him then. They're still around, right?
They don't even live in the same state.
Your child isn't my problem. If you go, don't come back.
I don't mind covering for her. I really don't mind.
You stay out of this. Sarah, go and you're fired, got it?
Hey, let her go see her son.
We don't need your business. Get the hell out of here.
Before anyone else could respond, Steve took off to his office and slammed the door. Customers were staring at the spectacle. Most averted their eyes when it was over. We got some sympathetic nods, though. Sally had to go. I didn't have any kids, but I couldn't imagine either of my parents picking their work over their children. The next day, Sally came back in at her usual time.
Grab your stuff, return any of my property, and get out. You know you're fired.
I need this job. I had to go in. If you had children, you'd see how important they are.
I don't have children because they just get in the way. Let this be a lesson to show how true that is. And since you are so irresponsible, I suggest you never have any more children. Ben and I felt bad for Sally, and we were fed up with Steve's management, so we came up with a plan. Ben let me know that he had already been looking for a new job and recently found one without telling Steve. I was graduating soon and didn't really need the job anymore. In fact, when I went to a job fair, a recruiter in my field asked about my current employment. When we got to the topic of Steve and him taking our tips and his outbursts, she got serious and said that what he was doing was illegal, that we should contact the Department of Labor as soon as possible and get the statements from the other employees. I had Sally's contact information since we would cover for each other off and on, and I told her to let me know anytime Steve had withheld tips from her. She was happy that she had kept track of those dates since she was hoping to get that money back sometime.
And guess what else that slimeball did?
Oh no, what?
He offered my job back, but only if I slept with him. I mean, you.
But Sally sounded happy for some reason.
My mother told me to record more stuff months ago when he started threatening us, so I did. And I also got him saying he was going to take our tips. I recorded him on the phone, saying I could get my job back if I slept with him. A lawyer told me this would be an easy win.
And he didn't know he was being recorded?
I checked the laws. In this state, only one party has to consent to being recorded.
Ben and I quit on the same day, leaving Steve to work by himself till he hired more workers. The DOJ was contacted, and Sally got a lawyer to help with harassment charges. I drove by the restaurant about a month later and saw that it was no longer there. Looking online, I found dozens of new reviews, all of them negative. Most were from the day Steve yelled at Sally, prompting several customers to say they were boycotting the restaurant. Sally, Ben, and I all left reviews there, and on Glassdoor indicating how terrible of a boss Steve was. Sally later told me she reported Steve to the police. Steve ended up being arrested and locked up. and that she heard Jessica was divorcing him shortly after. She said no one went to the restaurant anymore. Curiosity got the best of her, and she checked it out a few times, and it was always empty. In the end, Sally got a settlement from him, and I haven't heard anything else and have no desire to find out at his point in my life, as I am happier now than I ever was, and I don't want to ruin it. And in the end, I hope Steve learned about karma, and that what goes around comes around. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment.